Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Today, we're going to talk about electric vehicles. A little bit of good, a little bit of bad, and there's no particular order because I'm terrible at planning. I'm a real fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. So hopefully it works out. Let's watch some stuff.
People actually don't understand that if you charge your electric vehicle for 12 hours per night, every night at home for a year, it would only cost approximately $720 a year. That's less than half the cost of fueling most gas vehicles for a year.
Absolutely. It's if you can charge it at your own home, 100%. Yeah, you're going to save a lot of money. I don't know if that's, an actual figure, especially, in states like California where electricity prices are through the frickin' roof and everybody's required to have an electric vehicle, basically. Then definitely. Like right now, we run 2 diesel vehicles in California for our business, and we're paying that much every 2 weeks. Easily. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by. I am so glad you're here. If you can do me a huge favor real quick and hit that like button, it'll really help out my channel and I would appreciate it tremendously. If this is your kind of content, won't you consider subscribing and then come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day.
Electric cars are harming your health. They are full of toxic EMF exposure that can alter our body's nervous system, cause anxiety, depression, brain fog, vertigo, insomnia, and many more harsh chronic illnesses. EMFs can also be a carcinogen. We all know that microwaves are very harmful for our health. Highly recommend not using them. And sitting in your electric car is worse than using a microwave. Standing just 3 feet away from a microwave, you're exposed to 25 mgs. Teslas specifically can emit up to 150 mgs. To put that into perspective, the EPA recommends your exposure 0.5 to 2.5 mg.
So we've seen those videos where the person is sitting inside the Tesla with the little thing that, picks up the EMFs and they're just going crazy. And it's a lot like the 5G towers, right? A lot of people around these 5G towers start having issues because they put off a vibration, and what the vibration does is it messes with your own personal harmonics and then it turns you into a cranky monster. I'm downplaying it quite a bit, but it is really a serious problem for a lot of people. And for those people, don't buy an electric car. I mean, some people, they can handle it, and some people, they can't. So for those that cannot, do not. It's not that difficult.
Well, the EV boys just took a huge loss today. They thought they were emission free. They thought it, but they were completely wrong. Watch Scotty Kilmer explain the new study that just came out of England.
You may not believe this, but a study was just done in England that showed that electric cars actually put out more pollution than diesel trucks. How can that be? Well, the modern diesel trucks put out 153 grams of carbon dioxide per kilometer driven. It was a British study. Now, electric cars per se don't put any out. They don't have tailpipes, but worldwide, the electricity that's generated puts out 175 grams of carbon dioxide per kilometer driven in the electric car.
It's crazy the electricity that these EVs need, and we're not all electric right now. They produce way more carbon in the air than diesel trucks, modern diesel trucks. It's just another government money grab. Let's all be honest with each other.
So that's a very interesting situation. I mean, yeah, the energy that is going into your vehicle had to come from somewhere, and it's not always coming from solar. I mean, there's not enough solar power in the world, to run all of the frickin' electric vehicles that we currently have and that we keep putting out. And there's a lot of, people in California, we recently had the law passed that any new homes going up have to have solar panels on them. So that's great for people who own electric cars and have a new house in California, or have put solar panels up, which is actually a lot. Quite a few people have solar panels. All of my neighbors have solar panels. I do not, because the owner here sucks, but that's okay. So all of these people, if they have electric cars and they're charging them at home, yes, they are doing some good. So good for them.
Electric cars ain't saving shit. So you got yourself a Tesla and you think you're saving the planet. Here are the facts. Electric cars do not eliminate emissions, they export them. To make a 1,000-pound battery, you need to dig up 500,000 pounds of material. It takes roughly 100 to 300 barrels of oil to manufacture one electric car battery, which basically holds the energy equivalent to 1 barrel of oil. Manufacturing the battery has a carbon debt rate from 10 to 40 tons of CO2. A hybrid vehicle actually causes less CO2 emissions over its lifetime compared to a gas-powered or electric vehicle. More electric cars means more production of minerals like zinc, cobalt, and lithium. The demand for these minerals will increase from 40 to 4,000%. Also, only 50% of lithium batteries can actually be recycled. The rest is just hazardous waste. 95% of lithium batteries end up in landfills. But I know you like your Tesla though.
See, a lot of people don't take that stuff into consideration. I know I sure as heck didn't. Electric vehicles came out and I was like, hey, that's fantastic. There's less, exhaust coming out of them. So it's not polluting as much. But you don't consider what goes into making the vehicles. And it's a lot. And then what happens with the vehicle when it's no longer usable? A lot of this stuff is just going to go into landfills, right?
There's no question that electric vehicles are better for the environment than conventional vehicles, but they're still not completely off the hook. EVs require 6 times the amount of rare minerals that conventional cars do. Mining those minerals can also result in human rights abuses, deforestation, and polluted water. But let's just look at the difference in volume between mining minerals and extracting fossil fuels. To build clean energy infrastructure like batteries, wind turbines, and solar panels, we extracted 7 million metric tons of minerals in 2020. But in 2019, the fossil fuel industry extracted 15 billion tons of coal, oil, and gas. And that's just for 1 year. The minerals we extract for clean energy tech can be used for decades. And there's a lot we could do to make mining more responsible, from better regulation to recycling the minerals we extract. But just comparing the amount of stuff we take out of the ground between mineral mining and fossil fuel extraction, there's no contest. And it's important to keep in mind the big goal here. Experts say we have to decarbonize now because the Earth can't wait for the perfect solution.
I'm not sure if I just misheard her, but I believe that she said the fossil fuel industry extracted, an insane amount of stuff in 2019, trying to compare it to the minerals that were, extracted in 2020. Let's all remember also what happened in 2020. So let's not use that as an example because that year a lot of stuff slowed down. And when you take into consideration the fossil fuels industry, that's a lot more than just fueling a vehicle or all of the vehicles. So I think those numbers are a little bit misleading. It doesn't sound right. Also, one of the things that is a huge issue is the cobalt mines in like the Congo, right? They're run by children. There are children mining cobalt out there. It's a huge thing and it's disgusting. And this is what's happening for our lithium ion batteries, for everything. It's where it's coming from. I mean, up in Idaho, remember they shut down the water, but they let a whole bunch of water go for the cobalt mining up there in Idaho. As long as it's being mined responsibly, I'd rather use that stuff and not ship stuff from Congo. But the more we expand, the more we need to seek, other resources from other places, which are being mined by children.
Switching to electric vehicle could save the lives of millions of children in America by 2050, according to a new report by the American Lung Association. It's estimated that a switch to zero-emission vehicle and a decarbonized electric grid by 2050 will prevent 2.8 million asthma attacks, 2.7 million upper respiratory symptoms in children, 508 infant could also be prevented. Children are more vulnerable to the harmful effect of pollution since their bodies are still developing and they have small lungs. Would you get an electric vehicle to save the lives of children?
Did you catch that? Are you gonna get an electric vehicle to save the babies? That is brilliance in advertising right there. Kind of just pick something and tug on your heartstrings a little bit and be like, okay, yes, I'll go get an electric vehicle, but you don't need to. It'll be fine. If we did, manage to fix our grid and put some solar panels in and turn that into something fantastic, obviously that would be a good thing. We've gone from one type of power to another, and we'll just go to another because it's just how we are. We evolve. We move to the next best thing. And if that happens, freaking great. That is going to happen. It's going to save a lot of people's lives. It's going to clear up the air. It's going to this, but we got to get there first. And it's going to take a lot to get there first. There's going to be more fossil fuels needed, and we're not going to be able to get rid of, internal combustion engines completely. I mean, maybe we will. Who knows? It would be fantastic if we do. Great. But don't be so freaking like, oh, it's way better when we got to save the babies. That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
What do you put in the batteries? Lithium.
Okay.
From where did you get the lithium? You get it by mining.
Okay.
What do you use to mine the lithium? You use heavy equipment machineries. The amount of money and the amount of energy being used to make a lithium battery, it's more dangerous for the environment than a fuel, internal combustion engine.
And now we're back at electric vehicles bad. So yeah, he said it plain as day. I mean, I don't even need to reiterate that.
Electric vehicles require 30 to 40% fewer workers to build them because you eliminate the engine, you eliminate the powertrain, the drive shaft.
So the argument is electric vehicles are bad for labor because the engines are so much more simple in EVs that you don't need as many employees. This is very much like, I don't need a calculator because we've got an abacus, or I don't need a smartphone because I've got a calculator, or we don't need cars because we've got horse buggies, and what about the horse buggy drivers? The reality is that there will be widespread new jobs as a result of more electric vehicles. Number one, the entire world of batteries, both for home electricity storage, charging home electricity batteries, and also for electric vehicles. The battery world is going to expand, new research, new factories, tons of jobs. The charging infrastructure is going to be an industry unto itself. We have very undersized charging infrastructure in the United States right now, other than Tesla, particularly for all of the vehicles that are being sold. That's going to be gobs of new jobs. Grid upgrades to the electrical system will be required. There will be both innovation and new blue-collar type jobs for grid upgrades. Materials are finite and they are valuable, so there's going to be a push to recycling many of the elements used in electric vehicle batteries, and recycling and repurposing of those elements is going to open up tons of new jobs. We're going to raise demand by having more electric vehicles. People will say, hey, okay, now the vehicle's electric, but my electricity still comes from coal. Let's go to clean sources. So wind power jobs are going to explode. Solar power jobs are going to explode. The electric vehicle and grid world is very software driven. So there's going to be new software jobs related to electric vehicles and vehicle charging. So this is total nonsense.
Well, that sure sounded like a whole bunch of positive stuff, right? Yes, because when any new industry comes along, there come new jobs with it. Yes, other businesses will shut down, but there's, this new job that they can go to, and everything around it has to be, adjusted or replaced in order to conform with this new type of industry. And that's just the way that it works. It's called change. It happens, it sucks a little bit, but then we roll with the punches, and then it turns out to be an okay thing a lot of the time, right? The only thing I didn't like was the recycling part, because a lot of those batteries, those are not recyclable. Not a majority of them are not. A good portion of the stuff inside of them, you just can't do anything with it. But recycling the vehicles, okay, sure, why not?
How much electricity does the United States demand each year?
I don't know that number off the top of my head.
Okay, it's 4 terawatts annually. Mm-hmm. So the Secretary of Energy didn't know it. The EPA doesn't know it. FERC probably doesn't know it. Who else doesn't know it in this country? And we're mandating electric vehicles. You guys have no idea how much demand is going to be there. Where is that electricity going to come from?
It come from a diverse grid.
It's 110 degrees in my hometown today. The wind is not blowing, the sun is shining, and after 4 hours of darkness, there will be no batteries on this planet that can produce a reliable source of baseload dispatchable power. We have no plan for this.
That sounds just like California. I've lived here my entire life, and every single summer there's threats of rolling blackouts, right? So areas will go down for a period of time to help the grid during the summer when it's blazing hot and everyone's trying to run their air conditioners. So that's why they said, oh, you got to get all these solar panels, and all these people getting all these solar panels. But still, every summer, we're having rolling power outages, or we're having rolling blackouts, because they just turn it off here and there to help the grid, because the grid can't handle it. But they're like, hey, you need to get an electric vehicle. So people are trying to charge their vehicles while we're having these frickin' rolling blackouts. It can't be sustained. It's unsustainable. The grid it's not capable of handling the amount of electricity that we are required to use. It's really stupid. So stupid.
Cars are good if you have a towing company. Other than that, in fact, I'm thinking about opening up a massive towing company, and I'll quit this race for president. We're only leading by 58 points or something. No, it's terrible. This whole electric car is sick. It's sick. They don't go far. It's good if you want to go to the grocery store, take a quick little drive. You know, they say the best thing about an electric car, the first 10 minutes, you feel great. The next 45 minutes, you're worried about where the hell am I going to get a recharge?
I just thought that was funny. I did have a few clips that I wanted to use of people that were just having a hard time finding a place to charge their vehicle, but I thought that summed it up pretty nicely. There was one where there was this lady and she was in an electric rental, and she got to a charging station right when it ran out of battery, but she's not allowed to charge that vehicle at this particular charging station. So she had to pay for a tow truck to come and pick her up and take her to a place where she was allowed to charge the vehicle. I don't know if you're not allowed to charge vehicles at certain charging stations. I have no clue. I don't have an electric vehicle, and I don't even know anybody that does have an electric vehicle, interestingly enough. Let me know if you know about these stupid electric vehicles, if you can charge them at one place or another, if it doesn't matter, let me know about that. So there's some good and there's some bad. Personally, I don't like electric vehicles. I think they're stupid. I don't think they're absolutely necessary, and I don't think they're going to change the world. I do think that they are bringing about a bit of change, which is all right. Change is good. Change is always good. We're just afraid of it for one reason or another. And if we do end up changing the world, and it starts with the electric vehicle, then fantastic. I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.